Welcome to another episode of the Camper Report. Today I have a first timer on here, Ben Meyerson and Amin. Well, Amin's the vet. Ben is the first timer. And yeah, we're gonna discuss. Mostly, it's gonna be Smokescreen topics, hype trainer Smokescreen, and then are you buying stock? But how are you guys doing today? First off, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Ben. First off, I got to say, great first name. Excellent choice. Whoever made that call, love that. But no, shout out to you guys for having me on. I'm excited to be on. I've been kind of all over the place with my schedule recently, but I'm hoping I'll have a steady streaming schedule from here on out. So hopefully I can do more stuff with you guys, with Amin. This is a lot of fun. I always love talking to you guys. So hey, thank you for having me on. And if anyone hasn't gone and checked out my YouTube channel already,
go. I think it's in the link. I posted it in the link. So, in the description. So,
go check that out.
Glad to be here also, It's not my first time being on the show, so you already see me on Ben's channel, but I'm glad to be back. It's been a while, so I'm glad to be back.
It's been like almost a month, probably.
It's been a month.
So
it's been the dead part of the off season, man. We were just talking about this before. The content creation, it's tough right now. It really is. But we'll have training camp starting a week from tomorrow, so things should pick up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So let's, I guess, get right into it. We're gonna start off with Smokescreen or hype. Basically, are you hopping on the hype train of the Saints QB room? That's the first one. Saints QB room being serviceable. You can start, Ben, and then we'll go clock.
Yeah, so I'm gonna buy the hype on this one, and the reason I'm buying the hype is I do believe in Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, but really I'm buying this one because I believe in Sean Payton. I think that offense has been humming for years now. If you look, I want to check this out earlier today, guys. Sean Payton, of his 16 seasons coaching in the league, has 15 of his teams in the top 10 offenses. So that's only 1 year out of his entire career where the Saints didn't have a top 10 offense in the league. So I think they gotta be able to figure it out, and it has to be serviceable. And if you look, last year they went 3-1 when they didn't have Drew Brees, and they went 5-0 the year before when they had Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm buying into this one because I think the Saints have a great infrastructure. That offensive line is really underrated, in my opinion. I think they have one of the better ones in the league. That running back room is awesome. Kamara is awesome, but even Latavius Murray can do some really special things out of the backfield if they need him to. That wide receiver core is special. And you know what? I'm an FSU guy, so I gotta say that with Jameis getting his LASIK, hopefully he'll get things figured out. But who knows? I think one way or the other, their QB room will be serviceable. I just don't know who that QB is going to be. And I wouldn't, if you tried to pin me down now, I don't think I could be able to pin it down. But yeah, I believe in the Saints offense more than anything. So I think this room can be very serviceable.
Yeah, but I buy it. I buy it. Sean Payton, amazing coach. And I feel like it is a serviceable room. You have Jameis Winston, who's a former first overall pick. You have Taysom Hill. And look at what Sean Payton did with Teddy Bridgewater. Like you said, Ben, Teddy Bridgewater went undefeated when he was the quarterback, if I remember correctly. So look at what Teddy Bridgewater did in Carolina. He didn't do nothing. Add Sean Payton was in New Orleans, and he goes 5-0 with that team, right?
But is Teddy Bridgewater, is he better than Jameis Winston? I would say so.
I actually am not sure about that one, and
he's definitely a lot smarter than Jameis Winston.
He's a lot safer than Jameis Winston is. It's opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Teddy Bridgewater is the ultimate kind of safety blanket quarterback versus Jameis Winston. I love to tell everybody this. I love Jameis, of course, but my favorite phrase about him is that he's the most exciting player in the NFL. The offense and the defense could be in play at either time, at any time in the game, because he could throw a pick six or he could fumble the ball or anything. So, yeah, I listen, it's like I said, it's not as much about Jameis Winston. It's all about Sean Payton. Then I went and specifically looked, and of those 4 games they had last season, right, that they missed Drew Brees, 3 of those games were graded as the top half of their PFF graded offensive games that year. So their offense is still humming without Drew Brees, and if anything, I feel like he was a hindrance to their offense towards the end of the season rather than helping them. So just looking at the way they looked, and then with the Teddy Bridgewater thing specifically, he goes to Carolina. They don't win as many games. It's not like the offensive weapons are that drastically different now. The offensive line is a lot worse, but you still have Joe Brady as your offensive coordinator. That is by no means a bottom half offense in the league, which is what they were performing like with Teddy Bridgewater. So I got to buy into Sean Payton. I got to buy into the Saints.
I agree with Ben. He did it with Teddy Bridgewater. And I get that it's a serviceable quarterback room. Is it going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback room? Is the starting quarterback going to make a Pro Bowl? No. Are they Super Bowl favorites as of right now? No. But it's a serviceable quarterback room. And like you said, Ben, I can't pin down right now who's going to be the starting quarterback. Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? But it is a serviceable quarterback room. I have faith in Sean Payton. I have faith in that New Orleans Saints team. And whoever's the starting quarterback, they have a good supporting cast around him. I also agree that offensive line is underrated, and I feel like it is one of the best offensive lines in the league. Can't guard Mike is coming back next year, or some people call him Slant Boy, Michael Thomas.
Do you guys remember if they drafted a running back this draft? Because
I don't know.
I'm not sure
they
about
have
that one.
Kamara, so
I don't think so because I think they're a first-round pick. I mean, you might know this too. I think it was like an edge defender they took at the end of the first round or something like that this year.
Someone from Houston, I remember. Someone from Houston.
Yeah, the edge defender from Houston.
Yeah, I can't recall his name right now, but yeah.
But I wouldn't see why they would have any need to do so because they have Latavius Murray backing up Kamara. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, so I'm going to actually say Smokescreen here because you saw what they did against the Niners, and every week that Drew Brees was injured, they didn't do very well. And, I mean, I agree with what you guys are saying, but I feel like that Jameis Winston is a little too dangerous. Now, Sean Payton, the one going for them, is obviously, like you guys said, that he's a good coach, that he's had success with a lot of different QBs, but the jury's still out on Jameis Winston. Hopefully they can fix up some of his turnover issues. And Taysom Hill, I think they're going to split it a lot. They're going to split the load a lot between Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. I feel like it's really weird right now. There's a lot of unknowns. I think they should have gotten Kyle Trask, but
would have definitely been a good backup. I think they took Ian Book.
Yeah.
Really? They did?
Yeah, that one.
That guy could. And that's the thing. If Taysom Hill's not looking like he's right at quarterback, then maybe you do Jameis Winston. No, maybe you try out Jameis Winston, and then if everything falls apart, Ian Book, right?
Yeah, but
Taysom Hill, we don't know if he's really a good quarterback yet. So.
Well, and I think the thing with Taysom Hill is if we're going to get the full Taysom Hill experience, right, just full starter Taysom Hill, it's not going to look anything like a traditional offense or anything we've ever seen in the NFL thus far. And I think, Ben, you're right. They would probably go towards that two-quarterback system, at least in certain obvious passing situations like you saw in the playoffs with Jameis Winston, right? He has that perfect passer rating from the playoffs. I mean, it's only one pass, but the point stands that they need different quarterbacks to do different things, really. And the way I see it is if Jameis Winston is the starter, they might use Taysom Hill in some situations, but not as much. But if Taysom Hill is the starter, I see them using Jameis Winston a lot more than people would expect to. So I feel like if they're going to use that 2 QB system, it would be with Taysom Hill starting, just because with a guy like Jameis Winston being your starter, I feel like you would want to give that guy all of your reps. You wouldn't want to disrupt the flow of the offense. And there's a lot of things that you can do with Jameis Winston. He's a very good athlete. He's a two-sport baseball guy. But
what is their record, do you think?
Oof.
I would say like 9-8, 10-7.
That's what the betting odds say right now, 9-8 about. So that's where I'm gonna stick.
Because I think they'll be able to get by most teams, but the teams that have a good defense, they're gonna expose Jameis Winston like the Niners did last year. If the Niners offense wouldn't have been, if their offense actually would have been serviceable, we would have beaten the Saints. So
well, I think it's gonna be interesting to see. I think the offense will be at a certain level. I think I have certain expectations for them, but I'm more interested in the Saints defense because I feel like that's in more fluctuation because, that front four has been surviving with Cameron Jordan doing a lot of things for the past few years, but God, they need more help on that defensive line. They've kind of lacked that a little bit, in my opinion. So,
they lost.
Sorry,
he went to Cincinnati. He signed a 3-year, $60 million contract, right? That also
and he wasn't the greatest player ever, but he was such an integral part to the way they played their defense and the way they used him on the interior and played him inside out. They need guys to fill those roles, and when you start losing those kinds of guys, I worry about that.
Right. Okay, well, I guess we can go to the next smokescreen or hype. Are you guys hopping on the Niners defense being top 5 in the league?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna call smokescreen on this one. I'll tell you guys why. We're gonna draft our defenses that we're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
This made this question pretty easy for me because the Niners defense is not top 5. If we were talking about top 10, this would be a really super interesting argument I could see going either way. But to me, the top end talent they have on their team besides Fred Warner tends to get injured a lot. It's Nick Bosa. I mean, Eric Armstead's been underperforming. He's not even really injured. Javon Kinlaw, Jason Verrett, another guy who gets injured. Jimmy Ward has had the healthiest stretch he's had of his entire career, but then Jaquiski Tartt gets hurt constantly. So I think this at the end of the season, they very well could be like a top 5 defense, but I wouldn't predict that right now, especially with all I've said, and then adding on to the fact that they're having a brand new defensive coordinator come on and play call for them, who's never called defensive calls at the coaching level in the NFL before. Now, helps a lot that there's some carryover, that he has been a part of this regime since the beginning, I believe, and that he did call those plays as a player at that middle linebacker position. So I don't think it's going to be as much of a struggle for DeMeco Ryans, but I think that perfect storm of things to me, I just can't buy that they're going to be a top 5 defense. Definitely. If you told me they were at the end of the season, I'd be like, okay, fine, I get it. But right now, I can't predict that.
Yep. I agree with you, Ben. It's smokescreen. I just can't see it right now. That also mainly the Niners have to stay healthy. If the Niners defense isn't healthy, who do they have? Nick Bosa gets injured. There's only a couple of guys in that defense that are definitely game changers.
Fred Warner, Jimmy Ward,
Nick Bosa,
and what's the guy we got from the Rams?
Samson Ebukam, right? So
there's like 3 guys, probably 4.
There's not that many guys on our team, on our defense, that are standouts. Like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Jimmy Ward, who has the potential to be top 5. And I already think he's top 10, and PFF ranked him like 19th in the league. And I'm like, that's just disrespectful. Derwin James didn't even play last year, and he got put above Jimmy Ward. But that's the case. And that's true. That's a story for another day. But besides those 3 guys, who do you really have on that defense that stands out to you, that scares you? Really? There's not that many other guys on that defense.
I mean, the next guy we're talking about is Jason Verrett, who's been chronically injured for up until last season. Mm-hmm. And listen, he seems as healthy as ever. He participated fully in camp, the whole thing, right? But that's a guy who looked fine at the beginning of the season last season and missed the first few games anyway. So, God, I just don't know how much we can rely on this defense. Even if they and I mean, let me ask you this. Even if they were all healthy, I don't think I would put them top 5. That's the other thing, too.
I wouldn't either. Like, potentially, they could be top 5 at the end of the season. But also adding the fact that DeMeco Ryans is your defensive coordinator. He hasn't called plays as a defensive coordinator in his entire NFL coaching career, right? Robert Saleh, what he did with that defense is impressive. In my opinion, he's one of the best defense. He's top 5 defensive coordinator in the league because what he did with that type of teams, he beat teams like Sean McVay and the Rams. He beat those teams.
But Amin, the point, a good thing to point out with Robert Saleh, he struggled his first few years. As great as Robert Saleh was,
that's true.
That first season and a half, he really struggled. So why should we expect DeMeco Ryans not to struggle? Like, everyone has this idea going in that the Niners are set. Everything is set up for a championship this season. All of this stuff, I don't know if I'm buying that as much.
Yep. And also DeMeco Ryans, right? I don't think DeMeco Ryans is going to struggle as much as Robert Saleh because he has that defense. but he is gonna struggle. He's gonna have those bumps in
Absolutely.
the road as his first year as a defensive coordinator. Is he gonna struggle as much as Robert Saleh did his first year? No, because he has keys and pieces on that defensive line. He has players
Yeah.
on that defensive line. If that whole defense can stay healthy, he has players that can play. He has Pro Bowl talent on that team, unlike Robert Saleh did his first year, right?
Right.
So it's just that I don't think the defense is gonna be top 5. I know Bucks are obviously top 5 because what they did to Patrick Mahomes last year, that was impressive. I've never seen it happen before. My philosophy before the Super Bowl,
But the Bucks could fall off because they have an old Jason Pierre-Paul. They could even fall off a little bit.
He was still productive last year, and the only reason I don't see that happening is because the Bucks brought back everybody. Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, they brought back everybody.
But what did we see with the Niners when they brought back everybody? Like,
but Ben, within that, let's be honest. The Niners brought back everyone, right? But all those guys have an injury history.
Yeah,
that's the thing too.
True.
Is when you look up and down the 49ers defense and just the roster in general. It's a great roster. We always talk about it. Everyone's always talking about, oh, the Niners should be better than expected. Oh, this and that. But ultimately, when you rely on so many injury-prone guys to stay healthy and it bites you in the it's tough to come back from. And just on the Tampa thing really quick, I want to say this, that they might struggle in their front four a little more, but they got a lot of young guys too who are getting better. Vita Vea, Devin White. You look at that entire secondary that the Bucks have. That's a rising secondary in my opinion. They're only going to get better from here on out.
And the linebacker core. The linebacker. Devin White, Levante David. If those two guys that's top 5 linebacker duo in the league. And Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw have the potential to be that one day. But Levante David and Devin White are already doing it right now, right? So and Jason Pierre-Paul, even though he's getting older, he's still playing majority of the games. He didn't miss that many games last year. I don't even think he missed a game last year, right? I don't remember him missing a game last year, right?
Well, and he's not even playing with 10 fingers, so I mean, no, seriously. The one thing I would worry about with the Bucks, though, real quick, is Ben did mention a little bit that defensive line is getting older. I think besides Vita Vea, they don't really have many young guys. So
Ndamukong Suh, is he still with them?
Yeah, so they re-signed Ndamukong Suh. But and Raymond pointed this out in the comments. When you win and bring everybody back, it's different. When you lose and bring everybody back, you made a mistake. I agree with that wholly. So it just is what it is with the Niners. With the Bucks specifically, though, not a lot of those players are injury prone. They just have some older guys that I would worry about, right? Not a ton of injury prone guys, though. At least not the most important players.
Real quick, Amin, can you maybe turn your thing down a little bit because I'm hearing some audio noise. I'm not sure who it's from, but
yeah, sure.
Hold on. Here, talk one more time, Ben Meyerson.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, there's still audio noise. Never mind, you can turn it up. Okay, well, I'm gonna say no. It depends really because if they pick up somebody like training camp, like Justin Houston or something, then it could be, but I don't see them really picking up anybody substantially to move that needle. So it depends. They could overachieve like they did last year, but there is a lot of things going against them, like the D'Amico Ryans thing. So they could overachieve, honestly, if everyone stays healthy, maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna say Smokescreen.
Even the loss of Buckner. Nick Bosa was good in 2019, but Buckner was also helping a lot on that defensive line. Take out the fact that you have Buckner, that puts all of the pressure on Nick Bosa to succeed, especially coming off a torn ACL. You're putting all that pressure on a guy who comes off a torn ACL, and you expect him to be dominant that first year, coming back from ACL.
And no D Ford either. That's the thing people tend to forget about sometimes is that guys might retire from football entirely. So that's a sunken cost for the 49ers right now.
Right. I think it was my audio. Okay. So let's get to the last Smokescreen. Are you guys buying the Mike McGlinchey bounce back year? You can start first, Amin.
I'm not buying it. That's a Smokescreen for me, 100%. Now, is Mike McGlinchey gonna have a better season? Yeah, but he's still gonna get thrown on his Yeah, he's definitely gonna get thrown. Yeah, especially he's definitely gonna get thrown. Especially
Say
on
whatever
pass
you
plays.
want.
He's gonna get thrown as pass plays. He just is. J.J. Watt
Yeah.
came in free agency. Chandler Jones coming back healthy next year. There's guys on Carlos Dunlap also re-signed with Seattle. Jamal Adams also gonna be back healthy next year, and he brings blitz a lot. McGlinchey's gonna get thrown, but imagine J.J. Watt or Chandler Jones going up against Mike McGlinchey in a pass play.
Yeah.
It's over. Mike McGlinchey is gonna get destroyed. I don't care what way you put it. I just don't buy Mike McGlinchey having a bounce back season. Is he gonna have a better season than he had last year? Yes, I will say that. But is he gonna have a Pro Bowl caliber season? Is he gonna have a bounce back season? I just don't see it happening. I'm gonna say no. I don't buy it. It's the smokescreen.
Oof, I mean, I'm gonna make a lot of the similar arguments you're making, but I'm gonna say that I'm buying the hype because, like you said, Amin, it's not that I think McGlinchey is gonna have a bounce back year or that he'll be this stud, all pro sort of guy. He was just so bad.
He's not
last
built
season.
like that.
No. But he was so bad last season. He just has to be better. He really does. If you look in 2019. He allowed the least in all of his career. He allowed the least amount of QB hits, the least amount of pressures, and the least amount of hurries he ever did in his entire career with the 49ers. And that year, the Niners ran the ball 51% of the time. Last year, they ran it 41% of the time. So Amin just brought this up perfectly that Mike McGlinchey doesn't, let's just say, he doesn't play exceptionally well in pass situations. Well, guess what? With Trey Lance, with the offense the 49ers are building, with the additions of Trey Sermon, Wayne Gallman, Elijah Mitchell, the 49ers are just going to run the ball even more. And guess what? They might even run the ball more than they did in 2019. So I think, to me, it's a combination of a couple things. It's the combination of the center position will be solidified. The right guard position will be solidified. Those are two kind of rotating doors next to McGlinchey for the last few seasons. So they'll finally have some level of consistency there, which to me is the biggest thing with offensive line play. And then, like I said, in 2020, they had all those injuries to their O-line. They were passing the ball so much because they had to come back in games all the time, and they couldn't just run the ball down to people's throats. So I think he's going to have a much better season than he did in 2020. Now, is it going to be an all-pro or a Pro Bowler type season?
No.
I don't think so, but he doesn't have to do that for the 49ers. He just has to be excellent in run blocking like he always has been. And in fact, if you look, he actually had his best run block rate last season, not in 2019. Last season, he had his best run block rate.
He just was terrible at pass blocking.
Exactly.
And the thing with it is, before you go, the thing with it is that I believe that pass blocking is a lot more noticeable than run blocking. So, like, I don't care if he did good in run blocking, right? You have to do good in pass blocking, otherwise it's not going to show up. So, go ahead, Amin.
Quentin Nelson's one of the best because he's good at pass blocking and run blocking, and he came from the same school and played.
Same with Trent Williams.
He played with Mike McGlinchey in college.
Yeah, he did.
And Quentin Nelson is making Pro Bowls and known as just some people even have him the best offensive line in the NFL right now, right? McGlinchey's not that. And I agree with you, Ben, that McGlinchey has to get better at pass blocking. But one thing that concerns me about McGlinchey's pass blocking is that what about those situations where we have to pass the ball? When we need to go down the field, we have to do that. McGlinchey's that weak side. They're going to attack McGlinchey. They're going to put the best defender on McGlinchey because we know McGlinchey can't pass block. We just know that, right? And you don't want Trey Lance to run for his life because that also risks him to get injured. Look at RG3. What happened to RG3? He was running a lot, and then eventually he got hurt, and he wasn't the same after that. We don't want the same thing to happen. We don't want the same thing to happen to Trey Lance, right? Because that's our franchise quarterback. We invested so much into getting him, and if he gets injured because McGlinchey can't pass block properly, and Kyle Shanahan wants to drop a pass play when we need him to pass the ball, or even with Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance the quarterback or Jimmy Garoppolo the quarterback. When we have to make a pass play and Mike McGlinchey cannot pass block properly, then what happens? We're not going to be able to win games. We're not going to be able to drive down the field and score points. We're just not.
Hey, man, that's where George Kittle becomes his best friend, right? I mean, we've talked about this. People have talked about it before, but George Kittle is the difference making in the 49ers in terms of blocking. He is the one who moves the needle on this offensive line, weirdly enough. So I think, to me, especially when they moved to Trey Lance, the interesting thing I saw because I've been reviewing some RG3 stuff lately, a lot of statistics, a lot of film, stuff like that. One thing I saw is that they were actually saying with RG3 specifically, if they had just run the zone read more, if they had run those outside zone plays, right, where he puts it in the running back's hands, he goes the other way, and then Robert Griffin III just has to make a decision, give it to the runner or take it outside. By using that method of running the quarterback that way, you can actually protect your quarterback a lot better than running a Lamar Jackson more style of offense, because it gets them open space, it gets them kind of obvious sort of lanes to go down, and it gives them a lot more room to work with. So I think when they do move to Trey Lance, it's just going to take pressure off the offensive line, because guess what? Even if, like Amin is saying, they struggle with pass protection, McGlinchey can't block. If Trey Lance is bootlegging off to the left side of the offensive line, it doesn't matter what McGlinchey blocks. Like, it really doesn't. I mean, and if you look at guys like Russell Wilson, some of these other quarterbacks who are dual threat sort of guys, the one knock on them tends to be that they hold the ball for too long and they can get sacked, right? I don't think that's going to be the case with Trey Lance at all. He actually gets rid of the ball very quickly. And the Shanahan offense specifically, that 2012 Washington version of the offense is set up to get the ball out of their hands so quickly so that you don't take a lot of sacks. I think that season or whatever, Robert Griffin III had like the least amount of turnovers among all the rookie quarterbacks, including Russell Wilson and Andrew Luck. So I think the 49ers can structure a style of offense so that it protects the Mike McGlincheys of the world in passing protections, but then also because Trey Lance is so magic in what he does, it doesn't matter if there are players who miss assignments here or don't do things right there, because guess what? Trey Lance is going to be making plays. He's going to be cleaning that all up on the back end. So I think Trey Lance, to me, and I just a little off topic, sorry, but I think Trey Lance with the new offense, he's going to be protected a lot more than people realize, and I think he'll even be protected a ton more than Jimmy Garoppolo is in this offense.
Yeah.
Ben, funny thing you brought up Russell Wilson, because I was looking back at something, and I found out that
he holds the ball a ton.
Mike Shanahan in the 3rd round wanted to draft Russell Wilson in Washington.
He did.
He wanted to. And Kyle Shanahan said, let's draft this guy from Michigan State named Kirk Cousins, right? And if I was a Niners fan, if we had the same thing happen to us where Kyle Shanahan was like, well, let's draft Mac Jones, I would have been pissed, okay? I
would agree with you, but that's actually not quite the story. I think it goes a little differently from what I've heard. So I was looking this up recently. The story goes is that Mike Shanahan did want to take Russell Wilson in the 2nd round or even the 3rd round, but that once they did make the move up for Robert Griffin III, that eliminated the idea of them ever selecting a quarterback later on. But what happened was Kirk Cousins was available at their pick in the 4th round, right? So when all this was happening, apparently the way things went down, according to Kyle, is that Kyle went to his dad and said before the draft, hey, this is a guy we got to draft if he's there in the 3rd round. And then he was there in the 4th round. So they were sitting there saying to themselves, well, we already drafted a quarterback. We didn't think we'd draft another one, but hey, here's this guy who we have graded this highly, and that Kyle apparently wanted to take in the 2nd or 3rd round even. So with him sitting there at the 4th round, that's kind of the way they went about things. I mean, it's not that Kyle was like, oh, no, Russell Wilson, we're not going to go after him. We'll go after Kirk Cousins. It was more that Mike did want to go after Russell Wilson. They went after Robert Griffin III. And then they just didn't expect Kirk Cousins to be there in the 4th round. So
that backfired for them. That backfired for them completely.
It did. Both one quarterback turned out to be a top 15.
And RG3 is backup for Lamar Jackson. So that didn't help him out at all.
Well, the idea of them passing on Russell Wilson, but I think you guys got to understand the owners, they get a lot more involved with these kind of decisions than people like to let on. And from everything I know and all the media reporting, the reason Robert Griffin III was taken by that team in 2012 was because of the owner, not really because of the coaching staff.
Well, he balled out in Baylor also. You got to give him his props to that. He balled out in Baylor that year. So.
Oh my God, he did ball out, and that's
Heisman.
kind of
he won Heisman, right?
And Amin, the whole thing was when they traded up to number 2. From what I understand, is that they were like, okay, we're going to get Andrew Luck or Robert Griffin III. So we're happy with either of those guys. So that's kind of how the story went down, at least I believe.
So I'm gonna make my wait, can you still hear me?
Yep. Oh yeah, we got you.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna make my answer short and sweet, but before I do, I know why guys from Notre Dame are drafted so high. I was looking at like Aaron Banks' film and the other offensive line that he's playing with, they're horrible. That's why I guarantee you that's why Mike McGlinchey got where he is. Like I'm not saying Aaron Banks is bad, but the Notre Dame, the other side that Aaron Banks was not on of the offensive line, it was absolutely horrible, the pass protection. So I could see why teams like the Niners fell for people like Mike McGlinchey because he was just like so much better, but like the other people were like so bad. So I'm gonna say, I'm going to maybe like obviously buy. I wouldn't buy like high. I wouldn't be so sold out on Mike McGlinchey, but I would buy like low because I feel like if I think he will be with Alex Mack, the additions and stuff like that. So I think I would buy him the hype, but not very much, so.
No.
So let's get to the next one. Are you guys buying stock as in like which player, will the player be better than they were last year? So let's get to the first one. Are you guys buying stock on the Jalen Hurts, Eagles quarterback, being better than he was last year?
So if I have Jalen Hurts stock right now, if I bought a bunch back before, back in the draft, and I was holding on to it still, I would sell all of it that I could. I would sell it all right now. I do not believe in Jalen Hurts. I think, to me, he was in a dire situation in one of the worst offenses in the league, and the Eagles got really desperate, and they just had to make a different move away from Carson Wentz because that team lost belief in him. That locker room lost belief in him. And if you look at what Philly did over the offseason, they signed Joe Flacco, they signed Nick Mullins. Those aren't sneeze away
Mullins.
But that it's not the Nate Sudfelds of the world, right? It's not these awful backups who you're looking at like, oh God, that guy could never start a game for us. In fact, there are two guys, like I just said, who have started games recently. So I just don't think the Eagles believe a lot in Jalen Hurts.
That's true.
And then when I dive even into it even more, Jalen Hurts in like 3.5 games, because they yanked him out of that last game about halfway in, had 13 sacks. Over a 16-game season, that's like 52 sacks. That's like nearing some all-time record sort of stuff. And it Hurts completion percentage, or when he was pressured, was the lowest in the NFL. His completion percentage when he wasn't pressured was the lowest in the NFL. And that if you watch Jalen Hurts, a lot of what he was doing was throwing outside routes, right? Not over the middle intermediate stuff, to where he would see that first read. If it was an out route, an out curl, a 9, something like that going deep, he would go for it. But then if he didn't have that first read, he would scramble. Even if there was an open guy streaking across the middle of the field, running a classic George Kittle 4th and 2 route, like he wouldn't see George Kittle on that play. There are constant examples you can see in Jalen Hurts' game where he just lacks the anticipation and, quite frankly, kind of lacks the ability to process during plays. There's so many times where even if you watch him against the Cowboys, they kind of figured him out to where they were like, okay, we know if you're not going to hit your first read, you're just going to scramble and run around, and hey, maybe you'll find an open guy, but it's more likely than not that you're just going to run like a chicken with your head cut off. So I think, to me, look, Jalen Hurts did a lot of awesome stuff in terms of scrambling, in terms of being mobile.
And the situation he was in.
And the situation he was in. But, and this is what gets it for me, is that if he was in the most perfect of perfect situations like the 49ers, you guys would hate Jalen Hurts being the quarterback of this team. He would miss people over the middle constantly. He would barely even hit George Kittle. I mean, I don't think George Kittle would have more than 2 or 3 catches in a game with the way Jalen Hurts plays. So I think, like I said earlier, I don't think the Eagles fully believe in him. I don't fully believe in him, and I don't think that team got much better. I think it's going to be one of the bottom rosters in the NFL overall. So I think Jalen Hurts is in a bad situation, and unless he improves leaps and bounds as someone who processes the field and sees over the middle and hits guys on intermediate routes and all that stuff, unless he improves all of that. And honestly, even when I'm watching Jalen Hurts, he has some mechanical stuff too that he really struggles with. That he just does wrong with his feet and some stuff where you think he would actually be much better than I was expecting him to be at. So I'm just not buying Jalen Hurts at all. I mean, really, if you watch, like I said, by that Cowboys game, I mean, teams just had the whole Jalen Hurts offense figured out, and I don't think the Eagles believe in him.
I think they brought in Nick Mullins to kind of replace Nate Sudfeld because those two guys are like very the same. Maybe Nick Mullins is better, but they're like we can get Nick Mullins actually probably not anymore because of that arm injury, but we can get him for probably even cheaper than Nate Sudfeld because he just came off of an injury. Yep. Nick Mullins will honestly help Jalen Hurts with his mechanics because Nick Mullins he was good at his mechanics, but his just physical limitations. I'm going to say I'm going to buy low in Jalen Hurts. I feel like a change of, like, I was doing a podcast with my brother the other few weeks ago, and he was like, the change of pace, Nick Sirianni, he's an Eagles fan, Nick Sirianni, and just different guys like that will really change Jalen Hurts. I feel like the environment he was in last year was not good for him at all. Man. It was horrible. So he's going to have really time to develop behind good veterans. Well, not behind, but like learn from good veterans, different situation, change of style, you know. So and also I was looking back at Nick Sirianni's past. It's almost the exact same style as Doug Peterson. So you won't have to learn anything because Nick Sirianni actually for like at 3 years played for the Chiefs under thingy. So it's a very similar style to Doug Peterson. They know Nick Sirianni. He's the friend of the owner. So that's what I got to say. I'm going to buy low because I think it's definitely a better situation than it was last year.
I'm buying the stock. I'm buying the stock. Now, the reason I'm buying the stock, okay, I have faith in Jalen Hurts. I get what you're saying about Jalen Hurts' mechanics and all that. But what I saw from Jalen Hurts is a young, talented quarterback. And when Carson won the Packers game, Jalen Hurts comes in, he makes plays, he finds a touchdown, he brings light to a team that was in a dumpster fire. That specific game, that entire season, they were in a dumpster fire. He brings light to that team. Arizona, they go to Arizona next week. They lose by a touchdown. And the Saints game, his first start, they beat the Saints, who were on a hot streak. And they were not losing games to the best teams. And the week before, I think they blew out the Bucks. And Jalen Hurts comes in his first start, and he beats the Saints, right? Yeah. So I have faith in Jalen Hurts, and if he plays a full season, he's definitely going to be better than he was last year. But the Eagles also, Nick Sirianni, he's not like Doug Peterson. And the reason I disagree with that is because look at the Colts offense last year. They ran the football. That's what Nick Sirianni's going to do, the same thing.
But the Eagles were down like tons of times. They really kind of had to throw the football a ton. He's from Frank Reich's system. They're going to go – what the Eagles are trying to do, they're going to try to go back to their 2017 ways when they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, they were. That's what they're trying because Frank Reich was part of the 2017 team.
I think Nick Sirianni's going to run the football like he did in Indianapolis, and that's why –
And they did that 2017 year.
I like Miles Sanders, right? I think he's a good, talented running back. If he can stay healthy, he's a good, talented running back. And that's why I have faith in Jalen Hurts. They're not gonna rely on him like Doug Peterson, where he has to make all the plays. No, run the football, make good game plans, make good game schemes, and I feel like that's what Nick Sirianni. I think that's what Nick Sirianni is gonna do, and I feel like Jalen Hurts will have a better season than he had last year. I'm buying the stock 100% because I saw some flashes from Jalen Hurts last year, and I feel like he will improve on that. And they added Devontae Smith. Lane Johnson's coming back healthy next year. Yeah. They added Devontae Smith, right? You give him a weapon.
An awful offensive line. He barely even had time to process.
Jalen Reagor's coming back next year, right? And like you said, he didn't have time to process, but then why did he come in and beat the Saints, right? Like, he beat teams. We saw those types of flashes from him. He had a bad offensive line, and he still did things.
Almost beat the Cardinals.
He almost beat the Cardinals, right? It was like a 21-27 score, and I was watching that game, and on the TV, and that was the only game that was on. And it was like 4th and 2, and he hits the receiver. He hits the receiver on the slant route, and the receiver drops it, right? So Jalen Hurts, he makes plays. He has some flashes. He does have those mechanical issues that he needs to improve on, but I still do see some flashes from Jalen Hurts. And I feel like with Nick Sirianni, with Devontae Smith, with Lane Johnson, those guys coming back, I feel like Jalen Hurts will have a better season than he had last year. Is he going to make a Pro Bowl? Is he going to wow people and have 30 touchdowns? No. But is he going to have a better season than he has last year? Yes.
And he was thrown into the mix last year. Like, he was thrown into the heat of the season when he had to make something work. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think my Jalen Hurts, I guess you could call this a bold prediction. He's not going to be their full-time starter for the whole season. I don't think so. I think if you look at the backups they brought
he could be like Tua.
I think it could be like Tua, or it could be like a situation where, guess what? The Eagles have a new head coach. They have a lot of guys coming back from injury. They struggle a lot out of the gate, and Jalen Hurts is a part of that. To me, they're one of those teams that's got to be eyeballing quarterbacks by week 12, week 13. I really think so. And especially with the Jalen Hurts thing, like, Amin brought up some good points about how great of a playmaker he was and how electric he really was in those couple games he played. I mean, he was on my fantasy team. Trust me, I know firsthand the kind of stuff he was putting on. But the issue, like I said, is not just the mechanical stuff with Jalen Hurts. It's just overall as a passer, he like I said, he struggled when there was pressure. He struggled when there wasn't pressure. If you watch, the only time he really even hit in breaking routes or intermediate routes is when he would scramble for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and that would be his last option, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't think it's impossible for him to get there, but he would have to increase a ton. I mean, he would have to be markedly better as a passer. Yeah. And the problem too is if you look at like a guy like him versus a Trey Lance, right? They might have similar sort of talent, which even then I would say Trey Lance is more talented
because he's taller. He's just
yeah. But even the thing with Jalen Hurts versus Trey Lance is that Trey Lance is a check down quarterback. He's not going to make many risky decisions. It's not that way with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does make some risky decisions.
Offense where they threw deep a ton.
Yeah. Well, and if you look, I mean, Ben, that there was a lot of carryover from that in that first season with the Eagles. There was a lot of deep down the sideline attempts. That's kind of what I was talking about before, where it was like if that first sideline down the field read wasn't there, man, he would just be scrambling all the time. So to me, he has to be patient. He has to get better at processing, at anticipating, reading the field, understanding the offense. And I think you guys are right in a way that like they'll be a lot better than they were last season. I think it'll look a lot better, but I still think Jalen Hurts isn't the future of this team. I think if Jalen Hurts was on an all-star team, I think if he was on the 49ers, they would be cool with him. They would be okay maybe playing him with it for a few seasons. But honestly, for a team like the Eagles, to me, they're going to be a last place sort of team in their division. And then I think they're going to be.
You don't think the Giants or the.
I think the Giants and the football team are much better than they are.
Way better. I guess I think the Eagles get third in the division.
No. I just
but here's the thing: the Cowboys always underplay. Like they have a great team every year, and they always.
It's not about the Cowboys.
They win. It's not even about the Cowboys. The Giants.
The Giants, Mac Jones, dude. I think he's a holiday. The worst.
You have Darius Slayton. You have Evan Ingram. Blake Martinez. You have guys in that team. You bring in receivers. You have Saquon Barkley's coming back next year. You have a team around him, and that defense. They beat that defense. Shut down Russell Wilson and only allowed Russell Wilson to put up like 12 points, and they won with Colt McCoy under center. With Colt McCoy under center, Niners can't even beat him with Jimmy Garoppolo under center, and they beat him with Colt McCoy with that defense. I'm sorry, I just don't see it with the Eagles over the Saints.
I honestly think that this year Daniel Jones is going to show that he is Mac Jones's brother, and that he is going. Daniel Jones. I think that's the one weak link. I think after this year they're going to move on from him because they're setting him up for.
I just want to say this real quick. I think Daniel Jones is the weak link, but like Amin just pointed out, that team is freaking loaded, man. It is loaded, and that specifically the head coach Joe Judge. I believe in him, and I believe in Washington. So but just getting back to Jalen Hurts, guys. I'm telling you, he's not going to be an important part of the Eagles after this year. I think he's there right now because he's on the roster and he fits a spot at quarterback. But beyond that, I don't think the Eagles are buying into him, and I don't think the league is.
Yeah, the Eagles, and like every team, we see a pattern in the NFL. Like every team does when they come off of a Super Bowl, they always try to reconstruct. And so the Eagles, I feel like they went through a coaching change with Frank Reich. They realized it was a bad mistake, so they're going to try to bring in something similar. And then so.
I have a question for you guys though, because I saw this on ESPN the other day. Is this a make or break year for Saquon Barkley also, just like Daniel Jones? Because if you look at, I don't think so, but Saquon Barkley did get drafted before Sam Darnold and before Josh Allen, if I remember correctly, before Lamar Jackson. He got drafted before those guys. He's supposed to be a gold jacket guy.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with the Giants. Their coaching's also, I don't think, very good.
Is this a make or break year for Saquon Barkley? I don't think so because they invested. They drafted him so high.
No. No, that's not. No, absolutely not. But I feel like the Giants coaching staff also is pretty. Not very
I think the offensive coaching staff isn't the greatest. It's Jason Garrett running the show on the offensive side of the ball. But Joe Judge, I'm telling you, Ben, Joe Judge is a good coach. I believe in the overall collective.
I'm gonna say it. I want to say something real quick, Ben. Sorry for interrupting. I would rather have Joe Judge over Kyle Shanahan as the Niners head coach. And I'm going to say that confidently because I love what Joe Judge did last year in New York. Now, I see Ben biting his lip over there. But I'd rather have Joe Judge and Kyle Shanahan because I believe in Joe Judge and what he did when New York was a dumpster fire. He did the same thing what Tom Thibodeau did with the New York Knicks, where Tom Thibodeau and that Knicks team was a dumpster fire. They haven't made the playoffs in multiple years, and he almost brought them in playoff contention if it wasn't for the Eagles.
I wouldn't go as far as to say better than Kyle Shanahan.
He's not better.
But I will say this. Joe Judge, to me, is extremely underrated. I think he's one of the more underrated coaches in the NFL right now, actually.
Okay. Well, we'll end on that because – so let's get to the next one because I thought we could go on all day, honestly. I like that Giants topic. That's a good topic that nobody really talks about. But so are you guys buying stock in Eric Armstead being better than 3 sacks? You can go first.
Now, I'm buying this stock. He is going to have more than 3 sacks. Now, the reason I'm saying it is just 2 words. Nick Bosa. That's all I got to say. Nick Bosa coming back.
I don't think it's all Nick Bosa going to be Nick Bosa. Right, I think it's going to be
Nick Bosa,
like last year, too.
Majority of that help is going to be Nick Bosa. Because Nick Bosa, look at what Eric Armstead did in 2019 with Nick Bosa. Now, you could say that Forrest Buckner helped, too. But with Nick Bosa coming back and Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw second year, I feel like Eric Armstead is going to have more than 3 sacks. Last year, he had 3 sacks by himself. Imagine what he could do with the Nick Bosa on the other side of that D-line. He's easily going to have more than 3 sacks. Is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Is he going to have 10-plus sacks? Maybe, maybe not, right? It all depends how well Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa comes back, how well he comes back, right? Is he going to have more than 10 sacks? I don't know. Is he going to have more than 3 sacks? Yeah, because he did 3 sacks by himself last year with no help on that D-line.
I thought he had like 1.5.
D Ford was injured. No, he had 3 sacks.
He did 3.5. I think he.
Okay.
3 or 3.5. But with Nick Bosa coming back, he's definitely going to have more than 3 sacks. That's an easy question.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with Amin on this, that will he have more than 3 sacks? Yeah, probably. I think unless he gets injured, I see him getting at least 3 sacks.
He never does, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't get hurt. But, will he be much better than that? I don't know. To me, I'm going to have to see it before I believe it with him. If you look last season, he created half the pressures that he did in 2019, and he had the worst pressure rating of his entire career since 2016. So he really struggled last season. So I think the Niners will be better. Their defense will be better. Like Amin is saying, their defensive line will be better. But will he finish with Will he finish with like 10 plus sacks? I don't think so.
No.
And even if he were to finish with that many sacks, would it be the same as what he did in 2019? Would he create as much pressure as he did in 2019? As many QB hurries and sacks and all that, or not sacks, but QB hurries, pressures? Would he create as much as 2019? I don't think so. I don't think the defensive line is as good. If you look, he had DeForest Buckner next to him, who's a perfect, really a perfect player to put next to Eric Armstead.
And D4 played some games in 2019. He played at least, I remember he played 6 to 8 games last year, right? So that's also another boost on that D line to help him out.
Yeah, but even then, D Ford might be out for. I mean, might not play football again. But the point stands that the defensive line has to be better than they were last season. It was in really dire circumstances last season. Kerry Hyder was getting 8.5 sacks.
The savior.
The savior. I mean, there's like a 92 overall Kerry Hyder you can get in Madden now because of him getting 8.5 sacks.
What he did last year. Ooh.
Yeah, so
I don't think Kerry Hyder will repeat it on the Seahawks. Honestly,
No, that same thing came from Eric Armstead. Look at Trey Hendrickson with the Saints. Cam Jordan provides most of the pressures. Trey Hendrickson finishes off the sacks. He had 13 sacks. Is he gonna do that in Cincinnati with a horrible defensive line? No way.
You mean Seattle?
Not gonna do that. No, I'm talking about Trey Henderson. Is he going to do that in Cincinnati? Same thing with Kerry Hyder Jr. Kerry Hyder Jr. take up most of the stats because everybody was just focused on Eric Armstead. You neutralize Eric Armstead. Who was on that D-line? Kevin Givens and all those people. Now, I'm not degrading Kevin Givens as a player, but the main focus was on Eric Armstead. You eliminate Eric Armstead, that Niners defensive line isn't scary to us. And that's why Kerry Hyder got most of the sacks, right? Is he going to do that in Seattle? I don't see him doing that in Seattle.
No, and Eric Armstead is the big money player on this defensive line. That's kind of the tough part with Eric Armstead is that the 49ers have the 5th highest paid defensive line in the NFL, and it's mostly because of Eric Armstead.
And when Nick Bosa has to get paid up, that raises some questions of I
think they're going to restructure his contract. I did not this year, but the year after that, he's getting
Armstead. So with Armstead, I mean, they have an out in 2023 where it's not really even, it's an out, but it's like, if you look at it, so I think the money it's after 2023, right? Or it's in that off season. In 2023, his cap number is supposed to be like 24 million or something. And if they get the out in his contract, it's 12 million. So you're still paying him a ton of money, and then it's $6.5 million dollars the year after, even if you get rid of him completely. So no matter what, the 49ers are financially committed to Eric Armstead. I mean, there's no way around it. If you look, they backloaded his deal instead of the opposite. If you look right now, or if you look for the rest of their contracts, DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead's more expensive from here on out than DeForest Buckner is. That's because the Colts paid DeForest Buckner his money up front. And, I was thinking about this earlier today, guys. The 49ers did not have the Trey Lance thing figured out ahead of time. There's got to be no way they had it figured out.
The thing is, Eric Armstead. Yep.
Wait, I was just going to say, if they did, they would have made some pretty poor decisions in terms of how they doled out their finances. They could have kept DeForest Buckner and Jimmy Ward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing, was that, they can either keep Armstead and Jimmy Ward or re-sign DeForest Buckner. With Trey Lance, you could have done whatever you wanted. You would not have been held back by anything like that.
And there was a thing, I remember me and someone were talking about the other day. Would you rather, me and Bear Baller and Jesse Neal were talking about, would you rather have Jimmy Ward and DeForest Buckner? Would you rather have Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead? Or even if before that Javon Kinlaw, would you rather have that first round pick, Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward? I said no, because DeForest Buckner I say he's top 2 behind Aaron Donald in his position and defensive tackles. He's second right behind Aaron Donald, in my opinion. Eric Armstead's not that. And Jimmy Ward, around most circles, he's not that. And Jimmy Ward missed some games, right? DeForest Buckner he might miss 2 or 3 games here, but he plays a lot of games. And when he plays, he's a big part of your defense. He's that game-changing defensive lineman. What Eric Armstead is getting paid right now, he's getting paid like an Aaron Donald type player. He's getting paid like a TJ Watt type player when he doesn't deserve that type of money. He's getting paid like he's the game
He's getting
changer on
paid
his
to be
defensive line.
DeForest Buckner, but
Yeah,
he
he's
isn't
getting paid to be
DeForest
DeForest
Buckner.
Buckner, but he's not, right? He's just not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, the way the 49ers, gosh, just the way they did their finances, even this offseason, like before the draft and all that, there's no way they knew they were going to draft Trey Lance, guys. There's just like no way.
is Ben muted for you also?
I think he is. Ben, I think you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted
Okay.
for me also.
Oh, whoops, I forgot
I was
about
like,
that.
what? Oh no, you're good. We were
I was
just,
like, I think we were talking.
I was really enjoying watching you, man.
Yeah.
I was getting the rhythm of it.
I
but-
forgot that I was because it doesn't. I don't usually mute myself on the screen. I mute
No,
myself
no
on my
worries.
microphone. So, anyway, so I could see him getting 5-6 sacks. I feel like not just Nick Bosa, but the defensive line as a whole is pretty good. I think he'll get obviously, like you guys said, get a lot more one-on-one matchups. 5-6 sacks, but I wouldn't buy I would buy like right around the middle, not high stock, but yeah. So let's see. So we can go to the next one. Are you guys buying stock in Josh Rosen being the backup? I was thinking about this topic and I was like, should I do it? But then it's like, Grant Cohn would have a cow and he'd be like, ah. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to not buy any stock on this one. There's just too much of a risk that, like, this would kind of be a stupid thing to buy. It would be like buying something, like, it would be buying a really risky thing. So go ahead. Well, we can do, I guess, Amin or Ben Meyerson, whatever you guys.
You want to start off, Ben, or should I go?
You can start off of me.
Now, this stock is risky to buy, right? Because it all depends who's the starting quarterback week one. Who's the starting quarterback, right? Every week, who's the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Trey Lance or is it going to be Jimmy Garoppolo? Because if it's Jimmy Garoppolo...
I hope you see my tweets, Amin. I keep putting the poll out, man. I keep trying to get the people's answers on this. It's split right now.
I didn't see it, but we've obviously... I'll check it out, though. But it all depends who's the starting quarterback, right? Because if it's Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo's the second. He's second backup, right? Second string backup. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo's the starter, then Trey Lance obviously the backup, right? If Jimmy Garoppolo's off the team and Trey Lance is a full starter, I do think Josh Rosen should be the second string over Nate Sudfeld because Nate Sudfeld is just mediocre. He's not the best. And Josh Rosen,
my guy. Eagles forever.
What people forget about Josh Rosen is that Josh Rosen is a former first-round pick. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. People forget that, right? And if you look at the situations that Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield were in, Baker Mayfield, his first year at OBJ and Jarvis Landry, he just didn't have the best head coach. But he had pieces around him to work around. Josh Rosen came into a garbage Arizona team, garbage O-line. Steve Wilkes was his head coach. His best receiver was a 35-plus-year-old Larry Fitzgerald. What do you expect a guy to do with that bad offensive line, no receivers, bad defense? You don't expect a guy to, as a rookie, to do anything in that type of situation. Josh Rosen reminds me of a Daniel Jones. He's not a guy that's going to make those flashy plays, but he's going to do those right things in the right system. He is going to do those right things. He's going to win games for you. Is he going to do anything flashy? No. Josh Rosen, and then he went to Miami. Josh Rosen went to Miami. That wasn't a good Miami team that Tua had to work with, that Ryan Fitzpatrick had to work with. That team was a dumpster fire. Minka Fitzpatrick demanded a trade that year because he didn't want to play in Miami. Right, so he also went to another team with a bad offensive line, no receivers. We saw what Patrick Mahomes could do with the bad offensive line. He couldn't do nothing with the bad offensive line, right? So people don't give Josh Rosen the chance that he deserves that those guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and those guys have, because those guys went into pretty darn good situations and their teams got better, and those teams believed in their quarterback. Arizona gave up on Josh Rosen in 1 year. And then Miami got rid of him. They got rid of him in 1 year also, right? And he was a backup quarterback for the Bucs, and now he's with the Niners, right? So if Jimmy Garoppolo's off the team and Trey Lance is starting quarterback, I do think Josh Rosen should be the second string, especially considering that Beathard and Mullins are gone. He should be the second string because Sudfeld is just mediocre. I think we all agree Sudfeld is just mediocre. So
spoken like a true Grant Cohn.
I mean, Nate Sudfeld is just really tall. I mean, that's basically his best skill in the NFL is height. It's kind of, Brock Osweiler syndrome a little. So I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen will be the 49ers backup. I'll tell you exactly why. It's because Jimmy Garoppolo financially is impossible to keep on this team if you actually want a chance at winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. Really. I mean, with Jimmy Garoppolo's contract right now with the 49ers, there's no way they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And if they keep him on the roster starting into the season, he's going to count against their salary cap. And then that's just dead money for you. That's just money you're throwing away, lighting on fire. So I think the 49ers are going to get to the point where they're going to have to make a decision where they're going to have to either say, Trey Lance, you're our week 1 starter, or they're going to have to tell Jimmy Garoppolo, look, we'll trade you at the trade deadline, but you're going to have to ball out in those first few games. Otherwise, things are going to get really ugly really quick. We might have to cut you. So I just think it's a dire situation that the 49ers are in terms of that. I don't think by the end of the season that Trey and Jimmy will be in the quarterback room together. Therefore, yeah, I got to buy that Josh Rosen's going to be the backup. I just don't think Jimmy's going to be on this team.
Yeah. Going back real quick to the defense and Jimmy's cap real quick. I feel like I think maybe the Niners are missing something on this defensive line. And I feel like if they do let go Jimmy, Eric that could be one downfall. If Eric Armstead might get only 3-4 sacks because of just because they don't have, I feel like they are missing something on this D line for sure. Just more depth or something, because more depth that I think at the D end. I think that's their biggest thing.
I think they could use another edge guy, and you know what? That's something people have brought up a lot. But and not that I do disagree with you, I actually agree with you. But if we are gonna go the other way on this one, the one thing that will help the 49ers out this season is that DeMeco Ryans seems interested in creating pressure in all kinds of different ways, not just on that defensive line.
You're going to say corner, aren't you?
I was about to say they're going to use
You're going to say corner. I read your mind, Ben. I read your mind. We think alike. Because I was just, after what you were going to say, I was like, that's cornerback. That's 100%.
I'm a big believer in Ambry Thomas, Michigan, all the way.
Hey, it's not about that, man. It's really about the fact that the 49ers secondary, I think they have 2 starters signed after this season of their 5 secondary players. So I think they just have to get, to me, they just need more help in coverage. If Ambry Thomas can do that, great. But getting cornerbacks outside of the top 40 picks recently, like high-end corners, just hasn't happened much in the NFL draft.
Eric Stokes was the other guy that might have fallen, but he didn't.
Hey, I wanted us to take Asante Samuel Jr.
I know.
I was watching the draft, okay?
So badly.
And we the picture of the Raiders, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
Asante Samuel almost fell to us at that point too.
He played at your favorite college, Ben. He played with Derwin James. He went to the same school that Jalen Ramsey went to. He played. He's been there. He's seen those guys play. Why wouldn't you pick up Asante Samuel Jr.? Deion Sanders came from FSU. So why wouldn't you draft a guy like Asante Samuel Jr.? You passed him on the cornerback position. Now what are you going to do? Imagine Jason Fred goes down or he's not healthy to play week 1, week 2, right? We're screwed. We're in a position where we're not going to succeed. With DeMeco Ryans, I'm not comfortable saying that our defense is going to be able to do good against Seahawks or the Rams. I just don't see that happening, especially now the Rams added Matthew Stafford. They're going to pass the ball way more than they did with Jared Goff, because you have a guy like Matthew Stafford who can sling the ball down the field, and Sean McVay's comfortable. Sean McVay's excuse every year was that Jared Goff. Now he has that quarterback, and now he's going to sling the ball down the field. And if Jason Verrett gets injured, who's your cornerback? Ambry Thomas, I get that you're a believer, Ben, but look at Jeffrey Okudah last year. He was injured. Even when he played, he wasn't that good. A.J. Terrell for the Falcons, first round, 16th overall pick. He played. He was also very, very mediocre.
Amin's right. If Ambry Thomas is going to play quality, starting minutes for the 49ers, I don't think it's going to be this season. I think he could maybe at one point, but it's certainly not in year 1. I think that's way too much to ask of a corner. To me, it's one of the harder positions to transition to in the NFL. So, I think
going to go up against guys like DK, D-Hop, Tyler Lockett, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Those are the best of the best in the league.
Yeah, but he could even be better than Emmanuel Mosley, honestly, as far as physical traits and getting by. I think he's better.
He's good. He's better in terms of physical traits, but I will say the one thing with Emmanuel Mosley is he's proven his consistency, right? I think that's the one thing he's consistently able to be there for the 49ers. So to me, with Ambry Thomas, if it's too much up and down with Ambry Thomas, I just don't think they would want to risk putting him in too many bad situations. And the way I see it with Ambry Thomas this season is I think the way they get him involved is through special teams. It's what he really did well at. One of the things he did well at Michigan. He played both ways, right? I think, Ben. So I could see him being in those types of situations where 49ers use him on special teams as a returner, maybe as a gunner, some of those type of stuff.
True.
Do you think Ambry Thomas would like that? Do you think Ambry Thomas would like that? That's the thing, right? Do you think Ambry wants to play a special team?
Yeah, but the way you get on a team, I think he would. Right? Because the way you get on a team is to move your way up, is to grind. Because you can't be expected when you're a third-round pick to just walk in and start right away. So,
not when you're 102nd overall taking corner in the draft. If you're a running back or a wide receiver, different story, right? Even offensive line, I think
Elijah Mitchell is going to get more playing time as the running back than Ambry Thomas is going to get at cornerback, right?
Exactly.
That's just what I feel, and I think most Niners fans will agree with me on that.
The jury's still out on Elijah Mitchell, though, because this is literally stacked. This guy could probably be. I think he's going to go to the practice squad. So
it'll be interesting between him and JaMychal Hasty. Honestly, that's really going to be what the battle is about. I like JaMychal
and Wayne
Hasty.
Gallman. I think Wayne Gallman. I mean, I don't know why so many people are down on Wayne Gallman. He was amazing last year. I think he's going to be the number 3.
I think he's going to make the team absolutely.
When Jeff Wilson's gone, he's number 2. He's 100% number 2. You split carries with Mostert and you split carries with Gallman. Trey Sermon might finish off the game at the 4th or 3rd quarter, and Trey Sermon will get some carries here and there, but it's Gallman and Mostert. Especially while Jeff Wilson's injured, it's Gallman and Mostert for me. That's what I feel like is going to happen.
I think it's going to be more Mostert and Sermon, actually. But I hear you on the Gallman thing. I think Gallman's a really talented player who does deserve more play time in the NFL. I just think the 49ers invested so much in Trey Sermon with the way running backs are valued in the NFL. They're going to want to get that value out of him early on. So I just think they're going to put more pressure on Sermon because, to me, he's the type of guy where he needs a lot of carries, right? Versus a guy like Mostert, where I could see the 49ers giving him less carries and getting more of those home run hitting sort of plays, right? So I think Sermon and Mostert to me are just kind of a good duo, even though I hear you on the Gallman thing. I think Gallman to me, clear number 3 to me right now. And I think once Jeff Wilson Jr. comes back, I mean, we'll see how things break out, but I think he could still potentially be that number 3 sort of guy, depending on how the Niners feel about him.
Yeah. So we're done kind of the buying stock and stuff like that. I'm
excited for this last one.
So I looked at PFT and stuff like that, and I'm like, what a way to end off the dead season. Just do all these drafts. So we're each going to draft our top 3 defenses, and I'm excited. I just wanted to end it off with a big show, so let's get to it.
Hey Ben, so let me ask you, do you want us to each do our best 3 defenses, or I was thinking we could do
draft.
I was going to say let's do but wait, are we going to do a snake draft or are we going to do a back and forth? Well, how are you feeling on this? Are we going to go 1,
I feel
2,
like
3?
we can do somebody gets the first pick, and then if he drafts a certain defense, then it's off the board. Kind of
But what I'm asking is, are we going to go 1, 2? Are we going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or is it
So each guy picks their first guy, second, and then third.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Man, let's do it.
So I wanted to get I don't know. I guess I will.
Who's getting the first overall pick?
I want the first.
Usually they do a trivia question, but I didn't.
Well, how about this? I'm the guest today. You guys are the vets.
So yeah. So you can go first. You can go first.
How about Ben? How about we take it old school?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I mean, I already got my first overall pick circled on my board, dude. I got my big board. I've been looking at this morning. I got my tier 1 defenses. I think there's
Please
a few
don't
good
take.
teams.
Please don't take the pick that I was gonna take. Please take.
Okay,
Tampa.
go.
The Washington football team.
Oh.
I'm taking them first
I
overall.
didn't even have. I should have had them on my list. I don't know why I didn't.
To me, I'm taking the best front four in the NFL right now. By far and away. And then I think when you look at the rest of that team with Ron Rivera, with those linebackers, with Landon Collins, with that secondary, woo, this is a scary, scary team. This reminds me of the 2019 49ers. So I think there's
Ronald Darby is pretty good.
Oh, yeah. There's two other teams I considered at this spot. I didn't go after them, though. And actually, you know what, Ben? I just realized you reminded me. So they had Ronald Darby last season, right? They replaced him with William Jackson, who's even better than he is. He's an awesome corner. So I think William Jackson's great. Landon Collins can do some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm taking the best front four in the NFL. I just am.
Yeah, with Chase.
Like number 3
and the greatest thing about Chase Young is that he doesn't get injured like Nick Bosa does.
Mm-hmm. Man,
so,
and Montez Sweat is underrated. Nobody gives props to Montez Sweat. He came in his first season. He had 9 sacks. He comes in this season. He puts up like 10 sacks. Nobody talks about Montez Sweat. People talk about Chase Young because he was so good at Ohio State. But that also because Montez Sweat helped a lot on that defensive line. Nobody talks about Montez Sweat as this elite pass rusher. But he is an elite pass rusher. And nobody gives him the props and credit that he deserves.
You know what's funny is we know a friend that is named Jonathan Allen.
That's a great name, man. That is
and the offensive line guy is named defensive lineman for Washington's named Jonathan Allen, so it's pretty funny.
So I know Amin's going next here, right? But what do you guys think about my pick? I know there's 2 other teams I probably could have gone after.
I like
but
I like it. It's definitely
I like the front four seven, best front four in football. I like it. I respect that pick because they did really good, and I think
best defense though. Yeah, I don't know. The jury's still out on that one for sure.
Right. Well, let's go to Amin next. Let's see.
Pick number 2 overall. Pick number 2 overall.
The best defense in football.
Yeah.
I thought you had 3-1. I never knew your prediction of 1. That's a horrible pick, then, bro. I don't like that pick at all.
Pick number 2 overall. Pick number 2 overall.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a simple, easy question. The Buffalo Bills. I am.
They were maybe third, second on my list.
Just listen to the pick, okay? Now, the reason I chose the Buffalo Bills is that cornerback. You have Tre'Davious White. You have guys in that cornerback group. Linebacker, you have Tremaine Edmonds. You signed Matt Milano to a big contract. That safety, you have Micah Hyde on that safety, who was a really good safety, who in my opinion is a top 10 safety also in the league, and Micah Hyde, who's just a beast. That defensive line, you had a guy like Gregory Rousseau to bring pressure to guys like Mahomes, because that's what they struggled on in the AFC Championship game, where they just
they did add a lot to their defense. I think I have it right here. Hold on.
Right, you bring defensive line help, so that all of that. I think they're gonna be a good. They did really good against. They did a pretty darn good against the Chiefs. They just couldn't score enough points. But I just feel like that Bills team has all the talent, and I feel like they will be the best defense in the NFL. That's just my opinion. Now the Bucks, I would say the Bucks, but they're just getting a little bit too old, like Ben said, and they're definitely in my top 5. But I gotta say number 1, the Buffalo Bills, and I'm high on the Buffalo Bills. And I want them to dethrone the Chiefs because I feel like the Niners can beat the Buffalo Bills. But that's a story for another. That's another story. But
the one thing with the Bills, though, and I mean, I think you kind of mentioned this. They really struggle up front, man. They need to figure out a way to get pressure. Their coverage is elite, but the problem with having elite coverage is that you can only cover for so long in the NFL. You can only ask your players to do so much for so long, especially when you're playing against a Patrick Mahomes type who is going to scramble, who, like Amin was saying, when you don't get pressure on him, you give him all the time in the world to work. So it doesn't matter how good your secondary is when you're going to be facing those kind of guys in the playoffs.
That's why they brought in Gregory Rousseau, and I think they brought in Justin Simmons. Not Justin Simmons, though. The pass rusher from Tennessee, not the Justin Simmons.
I know you're talking.
The pass rusher from Tennessee.
Logan Ryan?
No, I know they brought in a pass rusher from Tennessee called Justin Simmons, but not the Justin Simmons. I know you were like, Justin Simmons, you were confused because you thought I was talking about the Broncos one. No, because he signed with the Broncos. I'm talking about Justin Simmons.
Hey, funny story. I mean, I don't think I've talked about this publicly maybe before. Justin Simmons went to my high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. Is it at the same time as you?
Yeah, like he grew up in the same town as me, Stuart, Florida.
Does he know you? Have you ever said hi to him or anything?
I know people who know Justin Simmons. I don't know Justin Simmons though. But
yeah, because was that a big high school?
Just because you know people that know Justin Simmons, but you don't know Justin Simmons. Unless you about, like 3 seconds to like a Broncos game if you're like best buddies with him. You know.
No, trust me, I wish. No, but he graduated like 6 years in front of me, so there wouldn't be any sort of carryover or anything from that. But no, I mean, like, we're kind of a smaller town, smaller high school, so he's like the only big athlete to ever come from our school, like pretty much ever. So everyone's pretty excited.
And he's balling out. And he is balling out. So
man just got paid. He just got that bag. So hey, shout out to Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually let Ben Meyerson have the Steelers. I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think DeForest Buckner. They have a good secondary. They picked up some great guys. I think the Colts have always been really defensively sound with their coaching and everything. So I'm gonna go Colts number 3 overall. I'm gonna let Ben Meyerson have the Steelers if he picks them, but. Go ahead. I'm going to go the Colts. Just all around, they're a great team. And their defense is even going to look better this year because I feel like they have a good quarterback with Frank Reich. Carson Wentz succeeded with Frank Reich. And so they're going to have a better quarterback who can shred teams, a great offense, great offensive line. Their defense is even going to look better this year because they're going to have a better mobility. It's just going to be all around way better.
Ooh, so I'm going to take you guys a little bit. I'm going to take you guys.
Right.
I like the Colts. They weren't that high for me. I like
the Colts, right? But being the best defense in the league, outside of
top 3. This is 3rd overall.
Yeah, right. But outside of Buckner and Leonard, there's not that much talent.
But this is the point of this video too. We're gonna look back, buy or sells all of these in the season. At the end of the season, we're gonna be like, who's right? And Benjamin will be right with the Colts.
I really thought
top 3. They're a top 3D for sure.
I really thought you guys were gonna make life easy for me because you would eliminate some of my options. But I gotta be honest, I'm looking at my big board right now. I got only one of my top 5 teams off the board right now, and that's the football team. I already picked them. So, God, I wish you guys.
The 2 teams that you guys picked, like I knew you guys were gonna pick them somewhere, so I didn't really put them on my list because I knew
I didn't even make a list. I'm just going on top of my head what I think. Like I don't have prepared any shows.
You know what? I mean, that helps me out because you know what? Yeah. I'm going to pick this team next because I'm going to
go ahead.
I'm going to save my last pick
number
for
4
the team I really want to pick right now. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns. That defense is
They were on my list. They were on my list.
I know you guys wanted the Cleveland Browns next. That's why I picked
second pick, bro. Ben just screwed me over so hard, bro.
Oh, I mean, you
do that to me.
I mean, trust me, you still got some good options. I think you got 3 really good options.
Browns are
yeah.
The Browns are like, that was an easy one.
Okay, go ahead, Amin. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You go ahead, Amin. I'm done. I just need to put out the Cleveland Browns, man, because
they were on my list. They were on my list. I don't know if I would have done them second.
Listen, I knew if I didn't take them, one of you guys would take them before it got back to me. So I'm saving the team I really wanted to take for my next pick because I don't think you guys are going to take them.
Okay, go ahead, Amin.
Figure that one out.
Now Ben eliminated my best option here.
Okay, stop. Go ahead.
That did me dirty, but you know what? I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers my second.
Okay, yep. They had to come off the board. They were sitting there staring us in the face, right?
Yeah.
They really were.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Ben's gonna pick Rams next.
Well, the reason I'm saying the Bucs is obviously what they did last year, right? They were a dominant defense. I have faith in Todd Bowles as the defensive coordinator. And what they did to Patrick Mahomes, I thought Patrick Mahomes wasn't human. Like, I really did. I didn't know Patrick Mahomes was a human with the stuff that he was doing in the league, especially his first year, second year, his third year. I didn't know if Mahomes was a human. And my philosophy before that Super Bowl was like, I've told a bunch of people, I was like, the way you could beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you can't stop them. That's just something that you can't do. You have to outscore the Chiefs, and that's really hard to do because the Chiefs could put 50 on you with ease. And the Bucks were the Patrick Mahomes kryptonite. They made Patrick Mahomes look human, and that Bucks defense, what they did was amazing in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was.
And that defense. That defense, Levante David, Devin White.
To be fair, the Chiefs were playing with a center at left tackle.
I get that they didn't have the best offensive line, but still, it's impressive what they did.
But that Tampa defense carried them to the Super Bowl. I mean, they really did. Right?
Yeah. It carried them even beyond the Chiefs game. It carried them to the Super Bowl. Yeah. They dominated throughout the season. That defense was dominant. I remember
especially in the playoffs.
Yeah. Not even that. Week 3. Green Bay is 3-0. They're feeling confident. They're feeling nice. Aaron Rodgers is torching up, playing as MVP.
They completely shut down MVP Aaron Rodgers.
They shut down Aaron Rodgers. They came into Green Bay. They play Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. They play. I got confused. They go to Lambeau Field and they make Aaron Rodgers not do anything. They lost their first game with that Bucks defense. That Bucks defense is dominant. They bring back Levante David, Devin White, Vita Vea, who's gonna get better. He's a big guy. He's really good at run blocking, run stopping. You have a guy like Jason Pierre-Paul who's gonna give you 7 to 9 sacks per season, and you have that defensive line. And the cornerbacks are pretty darn good. They're underrated, and they're an elite cornerback group. And I don't think they're underrated in my opinion. But yeah, that defense, what they did last year is impressive. So I gotta say the Bucks easily hands down number 2. They brought back the players, and I'm forgetting a player, Shaquille Barrett. Shaquille Barrett got paid big. Shaq Barrett is a beast. I had no clue who he was until that Jameis Winston season where he put up like 19 plus sacks, and he's still being productive. That when some people thought that was just 1 year he played good, he put up 10 plus sacks last year, right? So that's just what we expect from Shaquille Barrett. So I think with Shaq Barrett and that defensive line and that whole team, and also adding the fact that Brady, right? I get that Brady doesn't play on that defense, but when you play for Tom Brady, that motivates the whole defense to be better. And when you play for a guy like LeBron James, if you're on the bench, or when you get your playing time, you want to impress LeBron James. You want to do what you have to do to impress LeBron James. You want to do what you have to do to make Brady happy, to impress Brady. That's just the way it is. So yeah.
And hey, Ben said he's not going to take the Rams, so I'm really interested to see what's about to happen here.
Well, I'm tempted to pass up on the Steelers because I don't think they'll be good as they were last year, and they definitely got exposed like against good teams. Like the
Steelers didn't make my list. I have 10 teams. I have 10 teams I'm looking at right now. Steelers are not on that list. They got
destroyed by the Browns. Okay, and
it's like I'm starting to change my mind about the Steelers. I might pick them number 3. Browns, okay, right? Fine. I'm picking Rams.
No, Ben, bro. Ben is
here's the thing with the Rams. They can unlock their true potential if they just get a little bit more help around Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. And I feel like they could be a sleeper to get Melvin Ingram or Justin Houston.
Ooh,
I feel like they're a top 3 team.
Just got signed, actually.
Really?
He got signed by the Steelers, actually, funnily enough.
Really?
1-year deal with the Steelers, man.
What? With the Steelers? I should have picked them. Dang it. Okay.
I would still take the Rams over the Steelers, man. If I gotta talk you into the Rams, you got 2 of the best 5 players in the NFL, let alone defensive.
That's true.
That blocks off half the field. We don't go on that side of the field. We just don't. That's
true. That's true.
We don't go that side of the field. The other side of the field has Darius Williams on it, who actually played really, really well last year. If he steps up this year, he's also going to be a Pro Bowl caliber. He's a Pro Bowl caliber, in my opinion, because he balled out last year, and he's only going to get better because of his second year as a starter. He's only going to get better. But that one side of the field, we just don't throw to. And the other side of the field has Darius Williams, who's a pretty darn good cornerback. So I agree with you, Ben. I would have also taken the Rams over the Steelers.
Okay, so with the, 7th overall pick?
Oh yeah,
7th
yeah.
overall pick.
I'm gonna. So with my first pick, I made you guys go ooh and ah, and I can't believe you picked that team. I think this is gonna have the same effect. I think you guys are really gonna like this pick, and I think it's gonna be because you maybe didn't think about it. So I'll give it a
Please
second.
don't tell me you said New York Giants. Are you gonna say the New York Giants?
Gosh, no. I mean, come on.
Thank
no.
you, please. Oh.
Wait,
I'm
I mean,
taking
you're
the
gonna pick
Denver
them number
Broncos.
3. Oh
I'm
yeah,
taking the
that's
Denver
a
Broncos.
that's a good D.
Let's
that's
talk
a good
about
D.
the best secondary in the NFL, guys. Justin Simmons is from my hometown. Patrick Surtain, Ronald Darby, who just got. I think Ronald Darby. Kyle Fuller, not Ronald Darby, who just got added. Best secondary in the NFL. You got Von Miller. You got Bradley Chubb. You got all kinds of pressure you can create.
Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I think Chris Harris is on the Chargers now. I mean, I believe.
Yeah, my bad.
But we're talking about Patrick Surtain, Justin Simmons, and Fuller. Yeah. I mean, come on. To me, they're going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL. That was the team I was talking about last round, Ben, where I was like, I'm not taking them yet because I thought that you guys wouldn't take them. I'm glad I waited. Denver.
I like the Broncos defense.
Miller
I
and Chubb
forgot
are
about
coming
them
back.
kind of.
Miller and Chubb are coming back next year. That's also
Vic Fangio is a great defensive coach.
Yeah.
At the Broncos. I mean,
okay, so pick number 8, Amin.
I hope you guys like that one.
No, I did.
That was one that I also liked a lot. But now you guys made it tough on me, right? Because I have no.
Wait, don't pick the Giants. They're not that good. Their corners. Ravens. Don't forget the Giants' corners still are horrible.
Ravens, Ben. The Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's another one.
Yep, that's a great one.
Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue went to the Rays. You have Calais Campbell on that defensive line, who's a stud. Who's still a stud, even though at his age, he's not going to give you the big sack numbers, but he's still a huge help to that defense.
But I mean, that back 7, I was just about to say, that back 7, just if you look at that defense alone from their defensive line, that's one of the most talented defenses in all of the NFL, really. I mean, really.
And even the cornerbacks. You have Marlon Humphreys and Marcus Peters on that cornerback group. Like, that's just Marlon Humphreys is a top 5 cornerback. And you have a guy like Marcus Peters who's still respected around the league, who you don't want to target Marcus Peters because Marcus Peters can make plays. We all know that, right? And then you also have that Patrick Queen who's only gonna get better. He had a good rookie year, and he's gonna get better in his second year. So that defense is gonna be scary, and I think they're gonna be a top 10, a top 5, if not a top 10 defense in the league.
So with my top, I'm going to go. There's a few. There's the Steelers, the 49ers, the what's another one? Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think they still are a top 10, but don't forget, this is pick number 9. Like, this is bottom of the top 10.
Oh, yeah. And can I throw a few teams at you, Ben, actually, and you tell me? So, two teams I'm going to throw at you. New England is
they're not good.
That defense is going to be elite next season.
Miami's good.
Miami was a team I was thinking about. The Chargers, though. That
Chargers are good.
Defense.
Yeah. But don't forget number 10. What would you like? I guess we can do a lightning round. Number 10 for me would be probably. I haven't thought about this. Number 10.
I'm gonna say Miami or the Chargers. I think those are the two teams I'm looking at. Really.
Yeah, Miami is great.
Lost so many pieces.
But they also added Asante Samuel, though. I mean, and they added Chris Harris Jr.
Yeah, true.
Rookies number 1. All rookie cornerbacks struggle year 1. I get that some of them are good, but most rookie cornerbacks do struggle year 1. That's just the team.
Right? Actually, my pick will be the Bears. Why didn't we pick those? I mean,
the Bears.
For my number 10, number 10, it's gonna be easily the Bears.
Yeah, that's a good one to bring up.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Khalil Mack on the defensive line, Akeem Hicks.
They were top 5 last year. I don't see any reason why for them to drop that much.
I was talking to this guy named Abdul from Chicago Bear Split podcast, and he showed me the stats of Roquan Smith compared to Fred Warner and Bobby Wagner. Fred Warner and Darius Leonard. And Roquan Smith led in most of the coverage sacks, most of the stats. he was above Fred and Darius Leonard combined.
Yeah.
He was majority of them were Roquan Smith. So Roquan Smith is a top 3 defense, top 3 linebacker. Obviously, I'm saying Fred is the best, but he's definitely
Right.
top 3 for me, right? Roquan Smith is top 3 for me.
I mean, let's go over our individual drafts really quick though, and then listen. I think I got the best draft, but we can hash this out. If you guys want.
Okay, so I'll go over. So number 1, Ben Meyerson did Washington. Did you do Buccaneers? Right?
I did.
Bills. The Bills.
Bills.
Bills
Okay.
Mafia, baby.
And then I did Colts, and then Ben Meyerson did Browns.
The Browns.
And then
I hate that you took my pick.
And then he did the Bucks. Amin did the Bucks, and then I did the Rams. Sorry. And then you did the what was that? Broncos. And
so I got the football team. I got wait, who did I say? The Browns.
Browns. And who was my last pick? I forgot.
I think your last pick was
Ravens.
Ravens. Yeah.
Bills, Bucks, and Ravens. Bet on
and then I had
you could text me at the end
Colts.
of the season. Call me at the end of the season and be like, "Yo, man, you were right. Like, how did you know?" And I'm like,
I did.
Man, I just got mad skills. Respect the skills, okay?
I did Colts, Steelers, Rams. I think I had the best draft. I mean, they're all very solid defensive teams.
I'll say it. I'm a humble guy, and I think Ben has the best draft. Ben Meyerson. Because
that's yeah.
Denver,
I think
Washington, Cleveland, that's the best teams.
I think if I'm gonna make my case, I think all those teams could finish first, second, and third in the NFL.
With the talent they have on their defense, yeah, right. It's all about putting it together, right? Because you just base it off talent, right? And I would also base it off talent because all 3 of those teams have talent beyond measure. They have stars on every place, every step, every position that you look at. They have stars, right? But it's all about how well they put it together, right? That's all that matters, right? I get why you chose those teams, right? My draft was not bad, but I get why you chose it because all 3 of those teams have potential. They all have studs at every position. So I get why you chose those teams. It's all about putting it together. If they put it together, then Ben Meyerson was right.
Well, I appreciate that, Amin. Thank you.
Okay, so do you guys want to do the bold prediction?
Ooh, I you know what? Well, let's end on that because I got a one that it's kind of like I don't know how bold of a prediction this is. But you know what? I'll say it. I think Trey Lance will beat RG3's rookie record for yards off play action.
Dang.
Now, that was a very specific statistic I just brought up. But let me just lay this out. RG3 in his rookie season passed for 1,800 yards out of play action as a rookie. Trey Lance, if he's going to get a ton of passing yards, it's going to be out of play action.
Yeah, that's a good bold prediction because, wait, where did he go?
Oh, I think Amin just jumped out. But no, I think he's gonna lead in play action. I mean, Ben, how about this? You got a bold prediction for everyone?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I know this was supposed to be NFL bold predictions, but I'm gonna actually just stick to Brandon Ayuk. He's growing on me. He went from being like my top 5 favorite Niner to being like my top 2 favorite Niner, and I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk, 1,200 yards.
Ooh.
10 TDs.
Ooh.
10 TDs. And 95 receptions.
Ooh, that is a lot out of Brandon Ayuk. You know what?
But it's bold predictions. It doesn't have to happen.
That's a lot, right? That's a bold prediction.
I was about to say, Ben, I don't think that's that bold of a prediction. I think that's probably going to happen, actually. I think it's more likely.
50-50, really.
50-50.
If he secures those stats, he's going to the Pro Bowl. No doubt about it.
I listen, I think to me, I don't think he will have this sort of season, but I think Brandon Ayuk could have like a 1,600 yard season. But
this is boring. This is boring that he plays like almost every single game and has like probably tons of targets per game. Yeah. So
I think he could have like his best season potentially though. I think he could have like upwards of 1,800 total yards between rushing, receiving, everything combined, like 12 touchdowns. I think he could do some electric stuff with the 49ers.
Yeah.
You know my bold
and
prediction.
1,200 yards isn't bad. I mean, that's kind of just crossing the line into elite. So go ahead, Amin.
My bold prediction is the guy who had 1,800 receiving yards before he got injured last year. Can anybody guess who that is? No.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna say it then. Can't guard Michael Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Michael Thomas after this year, if he stays healthy, will take back his crown and be known as the best receiver in the NFL.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Michael Thomas,
so what are your stats? Do you think?
Look at Michael Thomas' stat. First year, 1,100 yards. Second year, he has 1,350 yards. The year after that, he has 1,500 yards. And the year after that, he has 1,750 yards. And then last year, he got injured, right? Consistent years of balling out, having 1,000-yard seasons before he got injured last year. Now, people know OBJ as his premier high elite receiver, but he's not putting up the same numbers as Michael Thomas is putting up. Michael Thomas is putting up way better numbers than OBJ. He's putting up way better numbers than Tyreek Hill. He's putting up those numbers. Before he got injured, he was putting up those numbers. And if Michael Thomas can stay healthy, if he stays healthy, he will take back his crown and be known as the best receiver in football right now.
I have one thing to say to that. I think because of the current QB situation, I don't think that's happening.
That might be tough.
Yeah, well,
I don't think so. Dude, they're going to try to run the ball a ton. They're going to try to run the ball a ton. They're going to try to smooth. They're going to try to run the ball, honestly. They're not going to – they don't want Jameis Winston, especially if Jameis Winston is the starter. They don't want him to be like Buccaneers, throwing it 40 times a game, having like 2 picks. That's just not going to happen. So – And Taysom Hill is a short throw guy. He's not going to – so I do not see – I mean, I guess it's a bold prediction, so it doesn't have to happen. Yeah. That's true. So
it's a bold prediction, right? And Jameis Winston needs to be on one game. Jameis Winston's primary target is going to be Michael Thomas. Or if it's Taysom Hill, that's his primary target. Emmanuel Sanders is gone. We knew Emmanuel Sanders and
Eric Crocker said that, right? After 2 guys, there's like – I don't even know this third person.
It's really bad.
Right? That's the thing, right? Michael Thomas is your primary receiver, and if you're going to throw the ball in that offense, that number 1 receiver is going to go to can guard Mike, which is Michael Thomas. And what Michael Thomas did before he got injured was special, man. He would always be open. He would always find a way to pull in the ball, whether it would be a jump ball, whether it would be where he had to run a dot or anything like that. He would figure it out, and he would catch the ball, and he would make plays. And that's why I say that it's a bold prediction at the end. That's why I feel confident Michael Thomas doing that, right? Because he's the number 1 target. You're not going to throw to your second or third receiver as your primary target. Michael Thomas is your primary target, and he is going to get most of the carries. And he's proven before that he can manage the load. He can handle being the primary receiver. He can handle getting all the most of the receptions. Yeah, right. He can handle those things.
Okay, well, do you guys have any other thoughts on that? I have one.
No thoughts on that, but thank you for having me on your show, Ben.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to Ben Kamperman, go get Ben to 100 subs. He's so close.
Yeah. So anyways, I have one. So tomorrow I'm doing a mailbag on my podcast. If you can maybe go hit up a question. If not, that's fine. campersports11@gmail.com. I don't want to know what the fans are thinking. So thanks, guys, for letting me have you guys on. This was a perfect way to end the
no problem, man. I appreciate
July of endless, just, perfect way. Actually, this was my longest show, which I'm proud of. I mean, this was definitely my longest. So subscribe to Ben Meyerson.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Ben, thank you for having me on. Like, we got to do this. Also. Yeah, we got to do this again during the season or when we get closer to the season sometime.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun. I like getting to talk about stuff other than just the 49ers all the time, constantly. I think that would surprise some people. But no, I'm kidding. It was so much fun to do this today, Ben. Yeah. Thank you. I loved all the topics you brought up. This is super cool, man. I had a good time.
So, go ahead. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, Ben, major props to you for coming up with these topics, man. Because, when I think of my show, it's hard to come up with topics. And you made 10 topics. And the topics were amazing. I would have never thought of these topics. So major props to you. You did Grant Cohn with those topics. If Grant Cohn thinks the topics that are amazing and you do the same thing that Grant Cohn did, Grant Cohn will be proud if he heard your topics.
Oh,
so major
absolutely.
props to you, man.
So, yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. This has been a lot of fun. We will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Two goats and a host. We'll see you